Okay, great. What is IFSA? And yeah, it's a bit outdated presentation. Okay, so IFSA stands for International Forestry Student Association, as you already know, probably. It was run by students on a voluntary basis. It was founded in 1973 and ran not under the name of IFSA. It was merely a yearly meeting each year for foresters. However, at 1990, it was decided to expand the cooperation beyond internal meetings in IFSA. So we wanted to include partners and external meetings. From there on, they established the interim as we know it today, and they established the statutes and rules of procedure under which we are still operating today. The following year, they also put down official positions as the ones Maria and I are holding today. An official position is merely you vouching for having a responsibility in IFSA as a way of giving back commonly. Today, IFSA holds around 120 local committees in approximately 50 countries, plus a few. We have a vision, which is a world which appreciates forests. We seek to broaden education through international events and networking. And that's something that we try to have present in all our activities within IFSA. So I don't know whether we can see that. I'm going to use the second picture. So the way IFSA is built up is that throughout the world, we are having our LCs, our local communities, which support IFSA activities. Within IFSA, we are having licensed officers, which are voluntary people who seek to have the key communication with our partners. For instance, we have a licensed officer with IUFRO, one with FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, and ITTO, and so on. So they're having the main communication, collaborating with what we call a MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding. This allows us to be present at external conferences and congresses, which gives the students a possibility to have a saying in the international affairs and policy making. We also have the regional representatives, as you know. They are spaced throughout the world in 7 regions, if I remember correctly, whereof Maria and I are the representatives of Northern Europe. We also have the IFSA 7, or what we call the IFSA board, which are the president, the vice president, the executive secretary, our treasurer, internal and external consular, and the membership consular, which Maria and I are in contact with. As you can see here, we're having a global coverage map of IFSA local communities. We are very evenly spaced throughout many regions of the world. However, we are very strongly located in Germany, among others, where I believe, do you remember, Maria, how many local communities we have in Germany right now? No.
I don't know what to say it, because in Germany it's split in two, right? It's like some of them are in Northern Europe region and some of them in Southern Europe.
Should be 8, yes. But I'm not sure.
8, okay. Let's say 8 then. Here I'm going to use another picture which is more updated. Here we go. Just to briefly summarize upon the IFSA partners, it depends. Over time, we're getting new connections and new collaborations with partners, and some partners have ended their collaboration with us. However, we are still collaborating with European Forestry Institute, the FAO connected to the FN, C4, Forest Europe, International Timber Organization in Asia, the IUCN, Red Corps, and many others. If you want to have a deeper view into these partners, you can go to our website, which is ifsa.net/partners, where Simone Mazzara has put up a very nice interface. So I encourage you to do this. I don't know why it's from that. Yeah, aside from external events, we of course have our internal events within IFSA. What you see here is a picture from previous IFSS in Estonia, where Mari was a member of the OC organizing this great event. Aside from the IFSS, we have a half-yearly meeting called NERM, where we try to catch up upon our strategies and our future work. Otherwise from that, we of course have our regional meetings, NERM, which we are having here today, whereof one of the key features is to show the culture of the country, but also to pre-elect the regional representatives and to elect the future host of 2021. And that was it.
Thank you, Bo. Somebody have maybe questions?
Yeah.
To ask, so go ahead. Or if you don't have questions now, but it comes up later, you have a chat to write. But I think then it's time for our applicants who applied to organize next year NERM. So the idea is that both LCs have 30 minutes together with the presentation and questions and answers. So first, one of the LCs will present the presentation, and after that we have questions. Everybody can ask questions, and LC can answer for them. And then the next, like the other LC, will do the same. What do you think? Good. 30 minutes enough? Should you want to like raise the hand and say I want to be first, or
I want to go first.
You want to be first?
Yeah, if you don't mind. Okay, I will have to first figure out how to present. I don't know how to do that.
Share the screen. If you see on.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you see it?
Yes, we can see it.
Great. Then I'm gonna go to the beginning and start. Okay. So hi, I'm Alina. If some of you don't know me, I'm from Finland. I represent LC that is Metsäylioppilaat. This is a shared application for LC Miro, LC Mel, and LC Jimo, all three of the Finnish LCs, but I was the only one who was capable of being here today, unfortunately. But we only need me to present this. So first about who we are. I'm not going to go deep into our LCs and how they work and what we do, but just a quick overview. I'm going to start with my LC, that is LC Miro, Forestry Students Association Metsäylioppilaat. We study in the University of Helsinki. We study Forest Sciences, and we were founded in 1908, over 110 years ago. We have around 250 members, probably more, but I wasn't able to get the exact number. And we have 3 clubs under the LC, that is Timber Trade Club, Forest and Wood Technology Club, and Tropical Forest and Foreign Affairs Club. And then we also do lots of like just LC things that is not under any of the clubs. Then we have LC Mail, that is in multiple cities in Finland. They have students from, I think, 4 or even more forestry engineering students from multiple universities, at least from Tampere, Joensuu, Mikkeli, and Rovaniemi. And they have a total of around 700 members. And then there is LC Ginjo, that is Joensuun Metsäylioppilaat, and they study forest sciences in Joensuu in the University of Eastern Finland. And they were founded in 1982. All in all, the 3 of us together unite pretty much all the forestry students from multiple forestry fields in Finland, and we have more than 1,000 members. Then let's get to the program. That is probably a bit more interesting. Here is the route. We start from Helsinki and we end in Helsinki, and it starts on Saturday the 10th of April and it ends on Monday the 19th of April, and those are the arrival and departure days, so it will be 8 whole days and plus the arrival and departure. We will start in Helsinki, where my university is, and because it's easiest to get there, because we have an airport there, and we have like the ferry terminal there, and like basically all the ways to get to Finland start from Helsinki. So we would arrive there, have the first night there, then the second day in the morning we would probably visit a company or a ministry or anything, because it's the capital and we have like the most headquarters and ministries and many interesting places like that to visit. And then we would leave for Hyviälä in the evening of the 11th. Hyviälä is the first research station of University of Helsinki. We have our field courses there, and it is like 2.5 to 3 hours away from Helsinki. This is a bit what it looks like. Those are the living quarters there, very pretty. We would do trips and excursions to the surrounding nature. There are many kinds of forest around there, and that's why the first research station is there. So we would get to see like old forest and new forest and peatlands and coniferous forest and broadleaf forest and like all from a day's trip near the first research station. And then we would have other kinds of fun there. We would get to know the SNER station. We would have the international evening there, and we would maybe do like an IFSA workshop and some other like climate simulation game. And then we have also this old school forest measuring game competition, whatever, and other like fun kinds of ideas that we can do like near the or on the research station. We have good facilities there. So we would be there for 3 nights, and then we would go to Joensuu, where we would also be 3 nights. Joensuu is the first capital of Europe, and it has the EFI headquarters there, and also the Koli National Park, where this wonderful view is from. So for those of you who get bored of flat ground, we would also maybe get to do a bit of climbing to go climb up there and see these pretty views. We would also get to know the university and their School of Forest Sciences. So this is the Joensuun Metsäylioppilaat University. And then other ideas there are a swimming center and forest museum, and also there are some interesting companies there that we might visit. Then we would head to Mikkeli, where we would stay for 1 night. Mikkeli is one of the cities where NERM has their universities, so we would maybe get to know a bit more about NERM there. We would do a hike to Astuvansalmi rock paintings, which are the largest rock paintings in Nordic countries, and it has this very nice route and some very cool rock paintings. And then we will head back to Helsinki, where we will be for the last night, have an auction night, and if not before, probably before, but like I added some beautiful photos of Finnish food here, which maybe doesn't look super enticing or delicious, but at least it's something new and worth trying. So about budget a little bit. Where does the money go? So we have this idea that it would be for 50 people. So there are calculations per person and per 50 people. So all in all, we would have a budget of 30,000 euros. That would mean 4,000 for transportation, 10,500 for accommodation, 13,000 for food, 1,500 for program, and 1,000 for other. And that will mean 600 per person, because Finland is unfortunately a bit expensive country, but we also have, as I said before, a lot of forest companies and foundations and other associations that would probably like to throw money at us. And this is only like a small part of the companies and other things that could sponsor us. And it's good that we have these 3 LCs because we have different connections to different foundations and different associations, and we have different kinds of partners. So we have more, all in all, partners that we could ask money from. So our primary sponsor would probably be Miesten Säätiö. They have been giving a lot of money for the past years to our LCs, to different kinds of events, and especially they have been putting more money into international events. So bringing this kind of big event to Finland that unites all 3 of our LCs would probably mean that we would get like 10,000 euros from them, which would already be 1/3 of the budget. Then we would only need 14,000 euros from other sponsors and 6,000 from participation fees. If it's like 120 euros, which was our target, that would be less for low-income countries and more for high-income countries, but that would be the rough average that we're targeting. Then lastly, Right Finland. We have never hosted a NERM before, and it would be super fun. Also, to my knowledge, other Nordic countries haven't really hosted it lately either, at least. And then again, all 3 of our LCs are collaborating to make this event even more awesome. We have sauna. We have this beautiful view in Hyviala, where we'll be for 3 days. This is from where this view is from the sauna terrace, so that would be a great thing. Finland is the most forested country in Europe, with 72% of its area covered by forest. So again, a lot to show you, and it's quite different from Central European forests too. We have clean, well-managed nature, thousands of lakes. I checked it today, it's 168,000 lakes, and Finland is advanced in technology. I think this is the end. Yes. I don't know if the questions are now or after both of the.
Thank you, Alina. I think let's ask questions now. So we have a little bit less than 20 minutes to questions if we need so much. So I see that Johannes have one question, at least one question. So go ahead.
What's the alcohol price in Finland? I heard it's very expensive.
It is very expensive, yes, but we would probably stock up, and to be honest, like our LCs go to Estonia or Latvia every few months to get stocked up in alcohol to sell it cheaper for our own students. So we would make it a bit cheaper for you. Yep.
So other questions?
Yeah. If there are any other question, I want to ask if we can jump in the bog like we did in Estonia.
Yes, feel free to do that. Not my favorite thing to do, but if that's what tickles your fanny, then go ahead.
I would ask how you like calculate budget, what you used for the, like, where you got that, how much money you need for one person, or
Yeah, I have well, we discussed this with the other LCs, and like it was like just based on our own experiences when we have done other kinds of events like these, how much, like where we would get accommodation, where and like how much does a bus for a week cost, and how, like, can we get food any cheaper, like do we have to, where do we have to eat, like do we have to go to restaurants, or do we have to cook ourselves, and it's like there is no just one way to explain like how we got this, but it's based on our experiences doing other events like these.
all right. And I would ask also, like, where you got the idea to organize it now when Finland never organized NERM.
Well, I guess that's to blame on me when I've gotten into IPSA and was like, I realized how inactive we have been, and thought of ways how we could engage more Finnish students in IPSA. And I thought, like, well, if we bring IPSA to Finland, maybe that's a good way to do that. So then I asked the other LCs if they were into that kind of idea, and they both said yes. So that's why we went for it.
That's good. So more questions? What do you want to know? Tomorrow is voting, so it's only time when you can ask questions from applicants.
Hello, here is Stefan speaking. Hello to everyone. Thank you, Alina, for the nice presentation. And I have only one simple question of what is basically the distance that we will travel within this trip that you are organizing?
I have to check it. I think I had it here. It's 1,000 kilometers all in all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How cold is the water?
Well, if it's going to be in April, it's going to be above zero for sure, but I would say probably around 5 degrees or maybe a bit more. Not more than 10.
Nothing stops IPSA people when they see water, so.
Yeah. I believe you can do it even if it's cold. From sunlight, it doesn't feel that cold.
So, do we have some questions more? If not, we can just end this question part earlier and move to the next applicant. So, yes or no? You have questions or not?
We are ready for Czech Republic.
So, yeah, Alina, thank you a lot. And now Czech Republic.
Okay, so Misha, can you just share the presentation because you have the latest version? And allow me to move the slides, please. Okay, let me see if I can move the slides. Yeah.
I think you cannot, but
okay, it doesn't matter. I will ask you for it. Yeah. Okay, so one more time, good afternoon to everybody. Thank you, Bo, and thank you, Alina, for two nice presentations that you have held right now. So I'm today in front of you speaking in the name of the LC Prague, and we are also interested in organizing the NERM 2021. So on this very first slide, you can see our topic, the main topic of the event, which will be drought and water retention in the landscapes. So at the beginning, I would like just to explain you why we actually have chosen this topic to be the main topic of the event. So basically, we are all aware that the world population is growing, and together with this, the demand for water rises. While the world has mobilized around the Sustainable Development Goals, which are all linked to water, more attention is needed to highlight the forest-water connection. There are still scientific gaps existing for creating the overarching policies, so we as future policy makers, scientists, leaders, and of course the foresters, we have to be very knowledgeable of this topic. Many countries have experienced calamities caused by different pests. In the case of Czech Republic, this is mainly the bark beetle, and those calamities are basically just the secondary effect caused by the lack of the water in landscapes. So we are of opinion that we as a young foresters, that it would be very useful that beside our university curriculums, that we have more experience on the field about this topic. So let me show the second slide.
The NERM should be somewhere around April and May, and we propose the date from 30th of April to 8th of May. Number of participants is around 50 because of the capacity of the bus, and the participation fees are similar as usual. It's from 100 euros to 100 euros 40. So. Can we move, Stepan, or you want to say something more?
Yeah, you can move to the next slide, please.
Then we will show you program, and Stepan will talk more about it.
Okay, so you can see here on this slide the map, which cover maybe 60 or 70% of whole Czech territory. So you can see the number one dot is our starting and ending point, which is Prague, which is the capital of Czech Republic. And basically on the dots 3 and 4, those two sites, you can see that they are on the border of the country. On the left side, behind the point number 3, there is a Šumava National Park, which is the bordering park between Czech Republic and Germany, and close to České Budějovice in dot number 4, this is the border with Austria. So we will basically make this route, which will cover a very big area of such a small country as a Czech Republic, and our trips will not exceed, I believe, more than 2 hours. And within those places that we are going to visit, we will experience different landscapes, since the Czech Republic is very rich in biodiversity, and we will be able to see the high mountains regions from the lowlands, beautiful rivers, karst areas, etc., which you will see in the following slides that we prepared for you. So Misha, the next slide, please.
So the first day, it will be Friday. Participants will come from the morning to the evening. You will get welcome beer, and we will spend the day in the university campus. And if someone comes in the morning or afternoon earlier, if you want, you can ask us, and we can give you a small tour around Prague, or if someone needs, we will pick you up at the airport or bus stop. And also we have very good public transport. It's very understandable, I think, so it's no problem to get to the campus and yeah, come to see us. Here on the pictures, you can see some pictures from Prague. There is Old City Square and our campus, and the accommodation here at the dorms where we would spend the first night, first 2 nights. Yeah. So the next day we will spend in our university. We will show you our campus. We have one of the greenest campus in the world, I think, or in the Europe at least. And we have our own brewery here. We have animals and a botanical garden and a lot of nice things. Then we will have a welcoming ceremony, like some lectures and welcome speech from our dean. And you will get lectures about the Czech forestry, and we will introduce you our country and topic that we will follow the whole trip. You will hear some traditional Czech hunting music, which you can see on the picture on the right down, and also voice attracting of deer, which you can see on the right side up. And in the afternoon, we will have group discussions about the topic, and in the evening, there will be enough time for some IFSA workshops, and also we will have a lot of fun. Next day, in the morning, we will move to Czech Karst, where we will visit coppice forests, which are very important for water retention and for biodiversity. And then we will also visit thermophilic sites as well as steppes. And as you can see on the picture in the right, it's called Big America, and we can have a bath there. So as you already said, IFSA cannot stop if they see water, so there is water for us. And Stefan, if you want to say something about coppice forest?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to add that probably you know that coppice forest is not typical forest type in Central or North Europe, but you can find more areas covered with the coppice forests in Mediterranean countries, like ranging from Portugal, Spain, south of France, Italy, Croatia, Greece. But this is actually the diversity that I was mentioning a couple slides before, that also Czech Republic has even this very typical type of forest, which we are going to visit in our trip. So, yeah. Continue,
Okay,
Misha.
so in the afternoon, we will move to Šumava National Park, and it will take like 2 hours. And in the evening, we will have some team building activities. Here in Šumava National Park, which is at the south. We will spend 3 nights. So the first day in Shumava National Park, we will introduce you our Czech projects, like for Myers, which are about ecology and restoration of peatlands. We will explain you the theoretical. It will be divided into theoretical and practical part. And we have one video here. I don't know if you want to see it. There are some pictures from Shumava National Park, so maybe at the end, if you will have time, we can have a look at it so you can see what to expect if the pictures are not enough. And in the evening, we will have international light. So next day, we will still be in Shumava, and Stepan will tell you more.
So yeah, the 5th day we will still remain in Shumava National Park. This will basically be the adrenaline day. Well, you can see on the photos that we will do either canoeing or rafting, or be divided in groups and do the boat activities, depending on availability and of course your desires. We will also
Stepan, are you there? Can anybody hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you, Misha, but we can't hear Stepan.
Can you hear Stepan? No? Okay, so I think I will continue alone. So, Stepan? Okay, I will continue. So the next day we will still be in Shumava National Park, and as we already said, we will do canoeing and rafting, depend who will choose what. And if someone cannot swim or doesn't want to do this, we can make other group and to have a walk around Český Krumlov, which is very nice historical city. In the evening, we will go to private forest to hear something from private owners, and we will also see some wolves. So if you like animals, yeah, you will see wolves. So, here is next day. Stepan?
Hey, I'm really sorry for these technical problems. Yesterday I had the same issue to follow the first day. So
do you want to say something to the day 5, or you will continue with the day 6?
If you already explained this part, you can just continue. Or
yeah, I hope that I didn't forget, so you can say.
Okay. So on the day 6, we will be in Podí National Park, and beside the topic of the droughts and water retention in landscapes, our agenda will be filled with a short lecture and excursion about the game management, since this national park is very rich in different wildlife species. Also, we will visit this lowland forest along the Dia River, and in the evening we will have the auction event for our IFSA members. So the day number 7, Misha. Day number 7, we are going to visit Vysočina. Vysočina is a very specific place in Czech Republic, since it experienced the hugest or the biggest bark beetle outbreaks a few years back. So the big clear cuts were done in this area, and later on the Czech foresters and also the students from our faculty engaged in activities.
Can you hear Stefan?
No, we lost him again.
Okay, so in the seminar, we wanted to make the practical part, not just stay and listen. We wanted us to work, to do something and help to the environment. So we will plant some trees and build some fences with cooperation of our Czech state forest. Also, Czech state forests have some projects which are connected to the water. So they will introduce us this as well. And it's called Getting Water Back to the Forest. And we are planting trees of new generation. In the evening, we will move to the school forest enterprise, which is very close to Prague. So if someone needs to leave earlier, it's no problem. It's like half an hour to get to Prague. So it's a good connection there. And in the evening, we will have a bonfire, which is also very traditional for Czech people, I think. So we are now in Kostelec nad Černými lesy, which is our school forest enterprise. Here we have Arboretum, again brewery, of course, and where we will visit sawmill and the nursery. And we will do another activity, which is climbing trees. And in the evening, we will have farewell dinner, and again, we will have a fire and sing and have fun. On the pictures, you can see the castle where we will live. We will stay like dorms. And the brewery is down, and yeah, our arboretum and climbing trees. So the next slide. And the last day, departure day, we will come to Prague in the morning. And anybody who wants to stay longer, it's no problem to talk to us, and we can stand with you until the evening and have a tour around Prague, same as the first day. So it's no problem. Anything to talk to us too. You can stay even 1 or 2 nights longer as you wish. And yeah, that's it. So here we have some summary, which is a bit better for imagination, maybe. If you want to just see it on your own, or if you want me to tell you something, I will give you a few seconds just to see it.
Misha, I think you can go on. Everybody can see this presentation in IPSA page.
So what you experience in the Czech NERM, during the journey you will see a wide spectrum of Czech forest types. As we mentioned, we will go to the mountains and lowlands, we will visit wetlands and steppes. And most of the excursions are about the topic of the drought and water. And you will see and experience Czech traditions, food, and of course beer. And maybe some music and costumes and other things, you know. And here we have our potential sponsors. The biggest of them is our university and our faculty, because what I have to mention is our dean. He really likes this international cooperation, so he gave us very big support in this. So we are pretty sure that we will get a lot of money from our faculty, from our university as well. And so on. Here we have budget. We were counting with the average price of participation fee, which is 120. And the expenses is for bus and main for food and accommodation, of course. And as Czech Republic is very cheap comparing to €10,000 euros, but we will get 6,000 euros, so we will need like just half of it. So I think the money for this event will not really be a problem. Okay, I will move on. And I hope to see you next year in the Czech Republic. I hope you enjoyed and thank you for your attention.
Let me, Misha, just add one last thing. If my connection will be strong enough to end this thought. So we are recently enjoying very big support from our.
Yeah, I already mentioned this. Stefan.
Us to so who promised us to finance this event and who encouraged us that in the future we organize similar events. So we are also thinking to organize eventually some events the year after and make it tradition. And in this way, this organization of NERM 2021 will be perfect opportunity for us to prove ourselves and also to overcome one issue that we had recently, which was the recruitment of the new members. So basically with this organization, we boosted the interest of the new IPSA members. So basically they will help us in organization and we want to keep them involved continuously in our LC. So thank you also from my side.
Thank you, Misha and Stepan. It was really interesting. And now time for questions again. So if some of you have a question, just raise the hand or just start to talk and ask question.
Do you still see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can, Misha, put it in the mute mode, and while people are asking questions, they can have a nice view of 1 minute, video.
Good idea. So somebody have questions? Okay, I ask same question like from Finland. How you got your budget? You used also experiences, or what you used for base to calculate the budget for yourself?
We use the prices that we know we will pay. We know how much the accommodation is here, and we have many like friends, people who we know on the places where we go, and they will give us better price. We have also already talked to them, so we know approximately this.
Okay.
And the fee is still almost the same. So. Is it enough to answer?
Yeah, totally. Somebody have questions?
I do, but I will leave space to people from the region maybe first.
I have a question. Maybe it was already mentioned, but what is the forest cover and how much is broadleaf compared to conifers?
what is the like how much forest we have?
Yes.
Uh,
Okay, I think we lost the audio.
Yeah, seems like there is some connection problems in Czech Republic at the moment. But maybe we can move on because the time is over for presentation and questions. But if we have some, actually Damiano had question. So maybe
one was just for either Misha or Stefan, but they're not here.
Okay, but
that one was for both actually.
So maybe we can move on, and after the presenting surveys, we can ask these questions. What do you think?
Yeah, it's fine for me.
Okay, so we have Lisa here. Yeah, so I'm not going to talk much because Lisa will introduce what she's going to talk.
Yes. Hi.
Hey.
Khalil will join in a minute as well, but I'll just go ahead and start. First of all, thank you for having us, and I'm quite happy to see that that many people joined. So what Khalil and I want to present you today is there is 2 projects going on currently that are doing surveys targeting students. Both of them are pretty much related to forest education, but still it's useful to actually take part in both of them. Just as a little overview, because they're quite complementary and they have, as you'll see in a minute, slightly different focuses. And I'll try if I can share my screen now, and then I'll just start talking about mine, and I hope Khalil will. Nope, I cannot share while someone else is sharing.
Mary, maybe you as a co-host can stop the shared screen.
Wait, I'm trying to fix it. I don't know, there are some issues. Okay.
Yep,
I think it works
seems
now.
to work. Yes, now I just have to find. Oh, well, I guess I just shared the screen then.
Yeah, we can see that.
All right, cool. So I think I've looked through the list, and I think I know a lot of you guys, but for everyone that doesn't know me, I'm Lisa Prior. I used to be an official in IFSA and am now an alumni, and I work in a project which is run by EFI, IFSA, and IUFRO, and hosted by the European Forest Institute, so EFI in Bonn. So this is where I work out of, but it's pretty much a collaboration of the 3 organizations, and it has a rather lengthy title of Global Forest Employment, I think, and Green Jobs. But the aim of it is twofold. So one is that we are trying to do some research looking into how the forest sector and how the labor market and the jobs in the forest sector globally change, and what this means specifically for students and what opportunities come up. But also we were asking, and you have this little graph here where you can see the 3 steps of our research. So we did a literature review, as you always do when you start a new topic. Then we had an experts workshop. Make this small maybe. Last autumn, where we investigated a bit more, and I think Alina is online, and she was one of the younger experts there representing Finland. And now we've come to this global survey. So what this aim of the survey is that we just want to know what is it actually that young people in forestry anticipate to be doing once they graduate. What is it they want, and what do they deem also important as what they need to learn? And then the other part of this project, just to make it clear that it's not just some random project that wants some input from you, is actually that because it is a collaboration of the 3 organizations, the other idea besides the research was that we want to assist IFSA and showcase its strength. And this means that and I think a lot of you are aware of, because I've seen you at different events, I get to spend some time to work on IFSA things wherever it's needed or whenever something is burning. But it also means that in the design of our study, we really much try to find ways that we can utilize IFSA's network as much as possible, but with this also show how strong it actually is and dig a bit deeper of how much value this can add. So talking about the survey now, as I mentioned before, the idea is to gain better understanding of employment-related ambitions and perceptions. And now we actually get to why I'm here today, which is I really would like you to help me, because I'm now got so far in trying to set up the survey and did a couple of reviews, and Damiano, for example, and a couple of other people already gave me some input. And I have it online now. Annabelle did some amazing things to make it look slightly, or make it look much better and appealing. I would love if you could actually spend some time, maybe after this meeting closes, or maybe some other time in the next few days until Tuesday, to just use this link, and I put it in the chat box in a minute as well. Oh, go back. And go and test it out. Because in order to really be sure that it works, I need as many people using it once and seeing how the results actually come out. And also, if you notice any mistakes in there, you won't be able to comment directly, but on the very last page, there will be a commenting box. So tell me if there's any mistakes in it or anything that bothered you or wasn't clear, or just send me an email. And this will help me a lot to improve it, but it will also make it more relevant in the end to get more relevant results. So it would be super, super nice if you could, well, do me that favor. And if you think, hey, this is actually a super exciting topic while you're doing it, and you think this is useful, I'd be even more happy if you would be willing to, in the future, also, once I'm done with the testing and I have the complete survey to go out, hopefully in the next few weeks, to actually be a multiplier and say, yes, I support this, and I'm going to share it with my fellow students, or I'm just going to go to my student study advisor or the dean or whoever you think would be useful at your university, and I'm going to ask them if they can share it with all students in forestry. Because the bigger our pool of students is and the more representative, the better the results are going to be. Right. I don't know if Khalil joined in the meantime.
Oh yeah, I'm here, Lisa.
Right, so then I would say if you want, you can continue and we get to questions after you've also finished. Does that sound all right?
Yeah, that sounds great. Thanks.
Do you want your own screen, or are you fine with the...
No, let's just continue with your shared screen. That's fine. Yeah.
I'll make this small.
Awesome.
Great.
Awesome. So thanks so much, Lisa. And thanks to the NERM organizers for giving us a slot here to chat. I know I've shared my camera as well, but where I am, the sun is just about to set. So I'm trying to avoid the sunlight as much as possible here. So I've spoken, Lisa and I have both done a few presentations to different groups within IFSA. So for a few, it might be a repetition, but hopefully you're not bored of us yet. So Lisa gave a really nice overview of the EFI IUFRO IFSA project. And I think right off the bat, you guys might be wondering, well, why are there two projects? I don't understand. Why aren't these, a merged survey, et cetera? Just to say that we really see both of these projects as very complementary. So there is a bit of overlap in some of the questions in the survey, but really the first project, Lisa's project, is trying to get a lot more in depth on the labor side. So how does your education relate to the employment that you want and the green jobs? And this project, or the second project, which I'll explain in a minute, really tries to touch more on your education experience. So what courses did you take? Did you think they were useful? How valuable did you find some of your programs? And really, were there any gaps that you thought were important? So just to, off the bat say, both of these surveys are really two sides of the same coin, and you participating in both would be really valuable for both of our projects. So yeah, that's just a bit of a let's say an announcement of the two sides of the coin. But the second project is called the Global Forest Education Platform, which is a little bit misleading. It's more than a platform. It's actually a stock-taking exercise of the state of forest education around the world. So the project is really trying to understand what are the existing initiatives, the actors, activities, curriculum that's taking place in the 6 regions around the world. So the way that we're doing that is we've partnered with 8 different regional technical leads. So UBC is actually leading our North America program. The University of Helsinki, with other colleagues in Europe, is leading the European part. And then we have University of Chihuahua, we have Recoft, TC in Asia. And so all of these regional partners are really in charge of doing the outreach for this project and trying to understand what is the current status and what are the gaps and needs. And so each of those regional assessments will then allow us to have a global synthesis. So how does Africa and the African student experience and teacher experience in forestry differ? And so these timelines that I have here have been a bit changed, but I'll just give a quick overview and I'll verbally update the timeline. So you can see on the left-hand side that our first task and our first goal is really trying to utilize a survey. So that's our instrument to collect the data from the regions. And originally we were going to have the survey only open for 1 month. And this was because we had a very short timeline from the German government for the project, which of course now because of COVID, and as you guys are obviously, that's why you've had to do NERM online as well, we've now had to shift all of our timelines. So it's likely that we'll have our survey open for a longer amount of time, probably being open as of June and maybe open until the end of the summer to allow students to give their feedback for as long as possible. So those targeted surveys, we're actually targeting teachers, students, and organizations as well to kind of get these different stakeholder perspectives. But where we see IFSA being a key player, of course, is with the student survey. The student survey is going to be the instrument for data collection, but our regional technical leads will use the surveys to then generate a regional report. And we're also hoping that IFSA will be able to provide input there. So once we have the regional reports, we want the regional representative or anyone else who's actually interested in education to take a look and make sure we're not missing anything key for the European student in this case. And then the idea would be that we would use that for a global synthesis, which would then be presented at a Global Forest Education Summit or a Global Forest Education conference. Now, of course, we've planned that 3 times. Originally, it was supposed to be in April. We moved it to September, and now we're looking more at November. So I'm remiss to actually put a date for that at this point, but we're hoping to have one before the end of the year. And so the September date you see there is not right. It's actually looking more like November. Lisa, if we could go to the next slide, please.
Yep.
Awesome. So the questionnaire, it covers a lot of different themes. It talks about sort of the curricular coverage, what are the gaps and competencies, the perception of forest education. So, some of you, might come from forestry families, or maybe you come from Finland or different countries where forestry is a very cultural aspect of your country in general. Canadian, I'm from Canada myself, and the west coast of Canada has a very strong heritage in forestry. It could also be that you didn't get into your medical program or your science program and you went into forestry as a third option. So I think that the drivers for people to get into the degree are also interesting, and we want to understand that a bit better. We want to look more at sort of digital readiness. Does your program really invite the use of new technologies, whether it's for harvesting, for data collection? Are you guys very digital forward in your program? And then we want to really get an understanding from you, based on your program, what do you think are the main actions we should take as a global community to sort of reshape forest education? So I should have started by giving you guys my background, but I currently, I work for FAO. I have for the past 2.5 years, but I used to be the Joint Task Force Coordinator for IFSA. And so I've sort of worked in the forest education space for some time. And this is the first time, let's say, our global partners have actually taken notice of the need for forest education. FAO used to have a global instrument, which used to kind of bring together deans of different organizations and regionally. And that used to inform how curriculum was developed and sort of making sure that the forestry program was delivering graduates who were ready for the workforce. And since 2009, that program was cut. So this is a little bit of an attempt to try to reinvigorate that idea. So the questionnaire tries to get at that. And I've already explained to you sort of the stepwise approach, how the survey informs the regional report, which then informs the global synthesis. The idea is all of this would really culminate in a new program, so in a new joint initiative with the Collaborative Partnership on Forests, which is a group of 14 forest institutions. And this would take the place of this global advisory kind of group in forest education. So I'll stop talking there. I think we can probably move to questions, but maybe just to end off by saying that I really think this is a really unique opportunity. It doesn't happen that often that the world is kind of paying attention to IFSA's main, let's say, bread and butter, which is focusing on forestry students and forest education. And so, you know, if you can participate in both surveys, it'd be amazing. If one suits your perspective more, by all means, you know, please do that one. But really, this is an opportunity for us to express how was your 4 years or 5 years or 6 years in a forest program perceived and what can be improved. So yeah, thanks for your time. And I don't know who's moderating, but we can probably move to questions now.
Yep. Anyone? Any questions? Any
see
comments?
Johannes's hand up, I think. Is that right? No? Oh, it's a clap. Ah, thanks. I think we were extremely clear, Lisa. Don't see
Sounds like it. Right, I'm gonna then post the testing link in the chat. And if you really have no questions, we won't steal any more of your time.
I have a question, Lisa.
Ah, there we go. Hi, Johannes.
Hi, Lisa. Why did you choose Survey Gizmo for doing the survey and not another platform?
Well, I had a long journey of trying out different platforms. I started with SurveyMonkey, which we have a license for, and it didn't quite do what I wanted, and I struggled using it. I used Typeform, which is amazing visually, but has downfalls in different question types. Then I used Survey Legend, which was also quite nice in the logic, but then it didn't do 2 types of question that I really needed. So ultimately, Survey Gizmo was the one platform out of the 4 that I really tried that did everything I wanted and was easy enough to use that I didn't get completely frustrated. But there's a lot of platforms out there and they all have at least one shortcoming. So if you have other suggestions, I'm happy to hear them. I can't change anymore now, but...
No, I'm happy that you shared your experience because I also need to use a survey platform for my bachelor, so I'm happy about recommendations.
It's quite pricey though if you have the full version, but just write me a message and I'm happy to share what I learned are the pros and cons of each of them.
Yeah, for our project, we're using a service called WebBroPoll. I didn't have quite as long of a journey as Lisa in selecting a platform. The company that we hired to do the survey formulation uses WebBroPoll. So I can't speak to how beneficial it is, but I would also say it's probably a bit pricey, but maybe something to explore.
Right. So please all do the test. Ideally do it before Tuesday morning because that's my next round of revisions. And yeah, I hope we actually made something that's valuable and interesting to take part in, but also to get super good results.
Lisa, you want us to share with like other students also, or?
Probably, if you have one of you that you think would be super interested, yes, but I wouldn't share the testing link as wide because I also need then proper input later and proper results.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some questions more? No? seems like no. But if there is, I think Lisa had the email at least. If Kalila had also email.
Yeah, I'll add my email to the.
But you can, yeah. So or maybe you can add it here in chat. And if
Yeah.
you have some questions or recommendations, you can contact with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Weird.
Thank you a lot.
Yeah. Thanks everyone. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your NERM on Saturday, and wishing you the best of times. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But we can move on or move back to Czech Republic. So if you have any questions to Misha or Stepan, just go ahead. Or maybe you have a later question still to Alina also. So I think we have time for that. I know Damiano had, but maybe somebody else. Everything is clear. Damiano, maybe ask your question then.
Okay, so the first question is just for Prague, in regards the budget. I just comparing with the Finnish presentation, where the participation fee is the same. So the money coming from the participation fee is 6,000, but the difference is that the Finnish budget, it takes 30,000 euros of costs. That means they will get 24,000 euros of sponsors, while the Czech one, the total cost is almost 11,000. That means that only 5,000 euros will come from sponsors. Is that right? That basically more than the 50% of the costs will come from the participation fee? Or is that a mistake in the calculation?
If we didn't mistake, like, we don't know about it. Like, we were counting on this. Like, we were really counting on prices that we found on the internet, and also we took the prices which were higher. So maybe it will be less. Than,
okay.
As I said, we are very cheap country in this. So.
Okay. So that means also the amount of money that will come from the sponsors won't be a lot.
And also, depending on sponsors, if we get more, we can also put the participation fee lower.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. And the other question is for both. And actually, it's something that I'm not the person in charge to ask for this, but should have been Johannes. But I'll go for it. Any plans about carbon emission compensation, vegetarian options, and any flights and anything else connected to have a more sustainable event? Johannes, I might be disappointed. Kidding.
Do you Czech Republic want to go first, or should I answer?
Is it a question for both?
Yes, yes.
So can I answer? We were counting on this also. Here we have very good possibilities for any food, like vegetarians, vegans, and any other specialists. We were talking about this, and we really count on it. So even meat eaters will be happy here. So everyone will be happy with food. And I think Czech Republic is quite known for its recycling and eco-friendly living. So we don't want to use plastics, and if yes, then just very, very less. And we are also very good at recycling and trash sorting and all these things. And I know that Johannes really likes this carbon footprint, and we have the discount for FlixPass. So I think it's very good that we are in the center of Europe. So many people can use this bus or train. And yeah, we will also use the bus the whole trip. And I think that's it. If Stefan doesn't want to say anything more. Yeah, that's it. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, for our part, well, one thing is for sure vegetarian/vegan options are available, but I don't think the whole event will be plant-based. I know that the Carbon Commission has been doing a great job, like working for carbon neutral events and ways to make that happen. And we would be happy to work with the Carbon Commission to work on minimizing the carbon footprint of the event. But we, at least the people who were doing this presentation, didn't have that much experience in those kinds of events, so we would need the help, but I'm sure that that is something that we will have to pay attention to.
Thank you.
Thank you, Damiano.
We need a new official for GAPSA Commission, I think.
Okay.
So there are some more questions.
I can only add that the organizing committee for our NERM, also with a big support of Johannes, also made up a whole CO2 sustainability strategy with many points in terms of reducing emissions, but also reducing plastic waste and so on. So we can also share this information and exchange when there's already when the voting has already happened.
Yes, I wanted to add to that we will work closer on the details if the NERM OC is set. So then we can go into the details and make an exact plan. But it's nice to have a little bit like a PowerPoint page for sustainability, but it's not a must-have right now. But thanks for the reminder, Damiano.
Right. Is there some questions more or recommendation, comments for applicants? Seems like no. So big thanks for everybody who presented and who participated, of course. Hope to see you tomorrow also. And especially for Northern Europe people, or who is like responsible of the voting in you should know that tomorrow is like 1 p.m. until 7 p.m. there will be voting open, and the emails will be sent to your IFSA account emails. Yeah. And tomorrow is that international night, so please fill the survey or the form for international night. And yeah, that's all in my side. Maybe Bo have something to add, or somebody else have something to add.
Well, just to clarify, we'll be meeting at 8 o'clock.
Yeah. 8 is starts the international night, and everybody is welcome. Hope it will be fun, and be prepared really nice presentation probably. So yeah.
Oh, and the OC recommended yesterday to bring some beer bottles to learn some drinking words and,
Yes.
and traditions. So be prepared.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for the reminder.
Okay, good luck for applicants for tomorrow. And it was, yeah, really nice day, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Yeah, bye, I guess.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.